Welcome into OutKick the Show. I hope all of you are having a fantastic Thursday. I know there are lots of different basketball games going on, and I know that you are probably like, what in the world's going on? Why are you cutting into my games? Well, I'm about to head out, had some news for you, about to hop a flight to D.C. I'm going to get into that in a moment, but first I want to tell you, 8 days from now, we are going to have our first big live OutKick event in a very long time for the start of the NCAA tournament. All you have to do to be there is go to OutKick.com/VIP. That's OutKick.com/VIP. And if you go there right now and use the code VIPEVENT, you get 20% off your entire VIP experience. And we will be hanging out and having an awesome time downtown Nashville for the NCAA tournament. Jonathan Hutton, Paul Kaharski, Chad Withrow, all will be live broadcasting there next Friday for the official start of the NCAA tournament. Go sign up today at OutKick.com/VIP. That is OutKick.com/VIP. So, as soon as I finish this show, I am headed to the airport to hop a flight to D.C. I'll be in D.C. for the first time since we were at the White House. This time, I am testifying in front of the House Judiciary Committee about big tech, censorship, cancel culture, and more. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, I have never been in front of a congressional committee of any sort before. They invited me to come and talk as the owner of a media company, and I think I've got a pretty good story to tell about, obviously, the importance of the First Amendment to me, to my company, and what data I am seeing based on some of the choices that the big tech companies are making when it comes to sharing content. And I think it's going to be a really interesting discussion. I believe, I'm not 100% sure about everybody who's going to be there, but I believe the president, maybe the CEO of Microsoft is going to be there. Glenn Greenwald, I believe, is scheduled to be there. A lot more details coming out soon. That is tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. So I'm going to finish my radio show, head to the Capitol, and testify in front of the House Judiciary Committee. I don't know how many hours the hearing will be. I don't know exactly how many questions I will have addressed towards me, but I am headed there tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be fun, and I hope that you guys will be able to either watch it live or see some of the clips that we will share up on OutKick. I will also share my testimony that I am going to make at 10 a.m. Eastern. You have to provide a written testimony in advance. So at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, I will publish that on OutKick, and you'll be able to see exactly what I will be saying when it is my turn to make my opening statement in front of the House Judiciary Committee. Again, I think it's an important story and discussion. Big tech, cancel culture, the power of tech to influence the stories and the articles and the people that you see online. And so we will be examining that as a part of a congressional committee hearing in front of, in particular, the House Judiciary Committee. Never done that before. Not sure exactly what to expect, but I'll be there in person tomorrow in D.C. Like I said, as soon as I finish this show, walk right outside, head to the airport, and fly away to D.C. for the night. Then I'll be back. And by the way, I'm headed to Park City, Utah on Saturday. And so for anybody out there who is very familiar with Park City, whatever recommendations you have for me, drop them my way. I've never been to Utah before. It's the kids' spring break. And so we are traveling out to Utah. The kids are going to ski. I will just stay in the lodge and continue to work like I normally do. I'll just be in Utah instead of Nashville, but I'm told Park City is really nice. So I'll be on the road quite a bit over the next several days. Big news already in the world of college basketball, and this is a pretty unbelievable data point. The last time both Duke and Kentucky missed the NCAA tournament in the same season was 1976. If you missed the news earlier today, Duke announced their season was over. They may have had to win the ACC tournament in order to advance to the NCAA tournament. They had a COVID issue and were not able to play. Therefore, Florida State advances in the quarterfinals without having to win that game. Meanwhile, Kentucky posting the worst season maybe in the history of Kentucky basketball ever, loses to Mississippi State in the quarterfinal round of the NCAA tournament, and so they are officially done. Alabama will now play Mississippi State. I believe the Florida and Vanderbilt game is ongoing right now in the SEC. There are a lot of basketball games going on all over the country, which is refreshing to see. But Kentucky, the worst season in the history of Kentucky basketball. It'll be interesting to see how John Calipari rebounds from this. But what an awful, awful season for Kentucky to be completely done like they are right now. Even worse than the Robert Morris season. This is the worst season in John Calipari's head coaching career. A lot of Kentucky fans have turned on this basketball team. And I know COVID has made a lot of crazy seasons occur. But man, what an incredibly disappointing season relative to expectations for the Kentucky Wildcats to be out in the quarterfinal round of the SEC basketball tournament and have a long march now with nothing else going on. No excitement. First time since 1976, again, that Kentucky and Duke are both out of the NCAA tournament. I wasn't even born there. Probably a huge percentage of you watching or listening to this show right now also were unlikely to have been born then. So that is a pretty wild result already. Michigan State already disappointing. There are a lot of big-time programs. Looks like UNC has turned the corner. Indiana's still bad. There are a lot of traditional basketball powerhouses that are not going to be featured in the NCAA tournament this year, and we'll see whether Gonzaga, who I think is actually being under-discussed, sitting at 26-0, if they win their next 6, they'd go 32-0 and be the first undefeated team since Bobby Knight's Indiana Hoosiers team. So that story is still out there. And Baylor, who is in a battle right now, I believe, with Kansas State as we are speaking in the Big 12 tournament. But in general, I'm just excited that we have college basketball to talk about at all after last season when everything got shut down. This is basically the 1-year anniversary of the shutdown day all over the country as teams were literally pulled off the basketball court. We are going to talk tomorrow morning, scheduled to talk with SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey about what a wild experience that was. Encourage you, if you haven't already, search out my name on iTunes or Spotify, Clay Travis, OutKick on either of those locations. Go give us 5 stars. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to have a really interesting show tomorrow. We have a couple of different clips pulled. The governor of Ohio, Kevin Stitt, has been on with us before. He was there at Oklahoma City when Rudy Gobert tested positive, and so there is a lot of interesting info that he gave us a while back that didn't necessarily cut through all the noise, and I think you guys will enjoy being able to hear that. So, as we get ready to dive into a couple of additional topics, I want to tell you about my friends at Manscaped and how fantastic they are at taking care of you and also ensuring that they're helping to take care of everybody as we roll into March Madness. In particular, there is an offer that they are making right now that is absolutely fantastic. Your purchases right now, and again, your balls will thank you. They do an absolutely fantastic job of men's hygiene. Whatever you need to take care of in time for March Madness, make sure that you are doing it with Manscaped. Your purchase goes toward a good cause because they've partnered with Laker and Alex Caruso, former Texas A&M Fight Nagy as well, and the Testicular Cancer Society to bring awareness to testicular cancer, men's health, and early cancer detection. Did you know that the most common form of cancer for men aged 15 to 35 is testicular cancer? And they are giving support to everyone out there as part of their We Save Balls initiative. And right now, in addition to the money that they are donating to help fight testicular cancer at Manscaped, you can get 20% off and free shipping with the code DBAP20 at manscaped.com. Again, that is the code DBAP20 at manscaped.com. We'd like to thank Manscaped for making us look sexy during the big dance. And again, every purchase at manscaped.com goes toward contributions made to the Testicular Cancer Society. you can get 20% off and free shipping. Use the code DBAP20, DBAP20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code DBAP20. When things get hairy, make sure to call on Manscaped in clutch time. That is manscaped.com, DBAP20 for 20% off and free shipping of everything. You will be glad that you did it. We haven't covered this story very much because I'm starting to wonder whether covering cancel culture stories in the world of sports encourages the propagation of cancel culture. It's a really interesting dynamic, and I don't claim to know the exact answer, but OutKick has gotten so big now that we now have millions of people that consume our content on a daily basis. There's lots of great stuff there, and I thank all of you out there for supporting us. But when the Meyers Leonard story happened, he's a Miami Heat player, and he uttered an anti-Semitic slur during playing of a video game. And we wrote about it at OutKick, but I didn't really spend that much time on it on radio or on TV or anywhere else on my social channels, because I just don't know that it's a monster story that deserves as much attention as it got. I do think the ultimate result is actually not a bad one. Meyers Leonard is going to donate $50,000 to charity, 1 week suspension from his NBA team, and I got to give credit to Julian Edelman, who basically responded the exact same way to Meyers Leonard that he did when Deshaun Jackson posted his anti-Semitic comments on Instagram. And again, I'm opposed to cancel culture, no matter who the person is, saying or doing something dumb. I don't think we gain a lot by just throwing somebody to the scrap heap of oblivion or allowing social media mobs to run rampant all over them. But I do think that Julian Edelman's actually done a decent job of extending a hand and trying to make a more positive America with the way that he responded to Deshaun Jackson's anti-Semitic comments and the way that he's responded to Meyers Leonard. And so that's the positive story of this. But we have an official resolution there, $50,000 fine, 1 week suspension. I'll be curious if the NBA maintains that same exact pattern in the event of inappropriate comments made in the weeks and months and years ahead. But that is the ultimate result for Meyers Leonard, and I give credit to Julian Edelman for reaching out and wanting to have a in-depth conversation and try to make the world a little bit better, as opposed to just running him around, immediately insisting upon the cancellation of everyone. Another big news story out there that I think could get very, very interesting. Herschel Walker is being encouraged by President Trump, former President Trump, to run for the Senate in Georgia. And there will be an open Senate seat in 2022. I mean, a Senate election, I should say. It's not necessarily going to be an open seat. There will be an incumbent. But in 2022, Herschel Walker will be would be running against, I believe it's the Reverend Ralph Warnock, who is the existing senator right now, but will have to run for re-election to earn a full term in 2022. And so this by itself would set up a really intriguing question. We've already got Tommy Tuberville as the senator representing the state of Alabama. I think it'd be really hard to beat Herschel Walker in Georgia. I don't know about you, but I think Herschel Walker would stand a really good chance as the Republican candidate for the Senate in the state of Georgia. It would be intriguing to see what might exactly end up happening in that race in 2022 if that were to happen, and if Herschel Walker takes the suggestion of former President Trump and decides to actually get involved in politics next year in a November of 2022 election. But that is what is being encouraged right now. To reiterate, I am about to leave Nashville, hop on a flight to D.C. I will be testifying in front of the U.S. House Judiciary Committee about the power of big tech, censorship, cancel culture, what I see as the owner of a media company in terms of the powers of big tech and what can and should potentially be done to ensure that there is more of a content-neutral marketplace and that all ideas are able to equally battle in the court of public opinion, as opposed to big tech putting a finger on the scales and impacting in a major way the direction and trajectory of what ends up happening in many of these cases. So that's tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're blocked out by the Big East basketball tournament today on Lock It In /Fox Bet Live. Be back on television tomorrow. Be back on radio tomorrow. And I'll be testifying in front of Congress at 10 a.m. Eastern. Appreciate all of you. DBAP unless you need to SBAP. DBAP 20 if you go to manscaped.com. 8 days from now, we are going to have the big OutKick event in downtown Nashville, one of the biggest and best events we've been able to have in a long time. And you can sign up and be a part of it at outkick.com/VIP. Use the code VIPEVENT, and you will be able to save 20% off of your VIP subscription. I appreciate all of you. My name is Clay Travis. DBAP, unless you need to SBAP. This has been OutKick the Show.